This is called Machine Gun Serenades.
Yes.
In the year of Machine Gun Serenades, when angry men emptied their guns into the mouths of stars, I fell in love with the one and forever. We were the last of the Cold War children, born in the crater of the aftermath. We met in a church filled with broken hymns and snow, on a street of no dresses and pearls, in a city of boarded-up bread stores and paralyzed buses. We walked home together. He was a cypress pulpit. I was a quiet psalm. These words are the only photographs we took. On our first date, we took a walk through what had been the town's only zoo. The animals, long gone at the first premonition of war, had left behind empty cages, gaping frozen mouths, gossiping about exotic dinners cooked by the zookeeper's wife. Still, we stopped and read each inscription as if something alive was still roaming inside. He held my hand for the first time by the peacock cage, found a single feather caught in the wire, stuck it in my shy, hungry hair. In the background, Machine Gun Serenades played in rotation like an obnoxious summer hit pop song. It made for terrible first date music. This is how we kissed. My purple fingers anchored in the trenches of his fists. He aimed for my chest with a heavy artillery heart. He was met with no resistance. The brittle barricades of our lips collapsed as our bodies careened into unconditional surrender, a changing of arms. On our second date, we did not leave my neighborhood. Between my father's curfew and martial law, it was mission impossible. So we sat on the crooked steps in front of my concrete apartment building, surrounded by walls, scarred by gritty stray bullets, obscene graffiti, lazy man's piss, and political posters. This time, we kissed in broad daylight, a firing wall defiant, never minding the pack of stray dogs barking at each passing bicycle, or my father howling from the third-floor window because my neck was no longer willing to surrender to his chain, never minding the same machine gun serenade played by the same tone-deaf amateurs and the juvenile delinquent brothers of the third floor, tearing around the corner on the stolen army tank, chastened by the hordes of neighborhood kids with cultivated cruelty, banging on their wretched beasts with rusty pipes and dull bayonets. We kissed, a firing wall defiant, until the last police patrol whistle quenched the light of 1,000 petrified windows, turned the street into forbidden air, and the tank into the carcass of a murdered dinosaur. On our third date, he brought me a suitcase. I gave him 2 passport pictures and a tin box with the money from the weapons factory job, 3 summers' worth. He said, "Alabama." A porch to listen to the silence. He said, "Children." I said, "Yes." In the year of the fallen angels, I fell in love with my husband. We were the last of the Cold War children, the sum of our reassembled parts. I was a threshold. He was a door. We have built ourselves with leftover wood from Noah's Ark, and we have loved like an island, ignoring all borders. Thank you. So these are my stories. I don't need to make up any. I got plenty. So these are all true. Like, you can't make this crap up. These neighbors, Alabama, where I was the international student body of my college. But that's a different home. But yeah, like, this literally happened. My neighbors stole a tank, an army tank. So they rode around the neighborhood. And what do you do with a tank after the thrill is gone? So the spirit of entrepreneurship prevailed. They took some yellow paint and painted on the side of it, Tanksy. You want me to ride across town and see if your relatives are alive? Hop on the Tanksy. So, and these boys, these were my neighbors, and subconsciously in the last 10 years they've been popping up like peripheral characters in my poems. So I finally figured out that they needed their own. And this is like probably the first time I've done this poem publicly, so thank you. This is called Love Thy Neighbor, or The Juvenile Delinquent Brothers of the Third Floor. Brass Knuckle Amnon and Crooked Jaw Cain were Irish twins, 15 and 16. The spitting image of their mama, a venom sharpshooter, a young black widow, a 30-year drought. They were my neighbors. We lived on the third floor of the same concrete apartment building. Our doors stood at a perpetual face-off. Cain's bed and mine, barely separated by a timid wall. He often bruised with the sound of my name, punching through his teeth as he abused himself. A sound so wretched, there weren't enough songs written in the entire world to drown it out. When walls were not present, he became a shifting shadow with a clamped heart. He had a tendency to squeeze the life out of anything he loved. His favorite game was to press a bird under brick and crooked jaw until he heard its lungs crack like glass. Then he'd stick their feathers under my door like love letters. He wrote me so many love letters. Made sure I found them everywhere. Snatched from my hair ribbons, stuffed inside slashed bicycle tires, guillotine butterflies in the hinges, a rabbit's head thrust in the threshold. One time, he climbed up the rain gutter like a drought just to push my only dress to suicide, plunging it wet with fear from the third floor clothesline down into the dusty concrete courtyard. He only knew how to love a thing when it was dead, like a father. Now Amnon, he was a mute mountain of mean with hands twice the size of his body. Brass knuckle sneers where I once got caught in the no man's land between our doors. I had better sense than to fight him. As he squeezed his arm around my green plum chest, I fixed my eyes on a curious crack in the wall, growing with each banging of Cain's head on the other side, howling like a trapped animal. He was hurting me despite his own brother. And somehow, it made me feel less alone to know that he was torturing us both. The day the war broke out, and all the boys in the neighborhood rushed to kidnap rifles and guns, Brass Knuckle Amnon and Crooked Jaw Cain came riding through a neighborhood on a stolen army tank like serial killer cowboys, high on bloodthirst and sniff glue, playing marksman's game with my window for hours, which turned into days. Throughout the war years, I survived them by the grace of God Almighty, with a King James Bible and an old typewriter. I punched keys with crooked jaws to the rhythm of their weapons, writing poems about love, forgiveness, and things too much alive to die at their hands. I fortified the wall between Cain's bed and mine with pages from the book of Psalms. Great peace have them which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. The day I left for America, Cain shot every single flower pot on every window ledge in the building, howling like a betrayed wolf. I didn't turn around to look at him. I wished them both dead. 10 years later, when word of their simultaneous death reached me in a stifling hot southern afternoon, the sun in my womb churned as I went running in the backwoods, panting, weeping ferociously at the thought of them. Before Brass Knuckles and Crooked Jaw, two naked infants on a cold tile floor, begging with lament for a breast of a mother, shrouded in death and anger, concealing milk and love beneath a dark, heavy black dress, locked up fanatically by an unforgivably long line of bone buttons running from her venomous throat all the way down to her feet. How she murdered them to avenge her loneliness. How they loved me mean like a mother. For as a man has destroyed his enemy, so hast thou lost the love of thy neighbor.